In today's show, we're looking ahead to Sunday's action in the NBA. That's the thing, the NBA. Looking at streamers, looking at what I'm watching for, looking for Michael Bolton as well.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always, at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. All right, 5 games only on Sunday. So let's talk about those 5 games. Let's talk about what I'm watching for. Let's look at streams. Let's look at back-to-backs. Let's look at all that stuff. And we'll start by looking at the early game, which is the Mavericks and the Clippers. Make sure you have set your lineup early because this is, as I called it, an early game. So make sure that lineup is set. We don't know whether Luka Doncic is going to be back for this game. At this point, he is currently listed as questionable after missing the last 2 due to that ankle sprain. Hopefully, we get him back, but we don't know that. We expect Maxi Kleber will be out. Tim Hardaway, I want to see what he can do. Hardaway has been playing much better without Doncic. Can he keep that level of production up with Doncic? And then also the big fella, Porzingis. Kristaps has been awesome. Really awesome. Top 15 player over the last 2 weeks. And it's not just because Doncic has been out. Even before Doncic missed the last 2 games, KP had really upped his level. I want to see, is this real? Is this his... Because at the start of the year, he did get hurt. But before that, his usage in the offense was in the toilet. He just wasn't getting touches. And that has changed. So let's see whether Jason Kidd, your mate, is able to maintain that level of competency as an NBA coach. Sometimes I guess that can be tough. On the Clippers side of things, I just want to see the center situation because Isaiah Hartenstein, I think he's really good. And I've been talking about him for a long time. But how does he fit in with Ivica Zubac? How does he fit in with maybe the return of Serge Ibaka, who's been in the G League for a few weeks now, a week or so? Where does Hartenstein play? I could make the argument that Hartenstein has been better than Zubac in at least some of the games this season, if not in totality. But he's never going to get the start. If Ibaka's back, do they squeeze Hartenstein completely? Do they run a 3-man center rotation? I don't know. Hartenstein's putting up good numbers. I wouldn't be grabbing him outside of deeper formats, and how it all works with him and Zubac together. And even what Zubac's minutes has been, because Zubac started out the season pretty poorly, but he's really rolling at the moment, in large part due to playing about 30 minutes a night and putting up career best sort of numbers. The next game we look at is the Lakers and the Pistons. Talen Horton-Tucker's first appearance with LeBron James this season was dreadful. He missed every one of his shots. He saw his usage plummet. Will that be the way things go? Will he maintain his starting spot? I would expect he does. And I think he absolutely is worth holding until we figure out what the hell's going on here. While Carmelo Anthony, he's a good streamer for a day like this, but I don't believe that he is a must-roster 12-team league player. So if you do have him, use him on Sunday and then move on. While for the Pistons, it looked like it might be a serious injury for the Flamin' Galah.
Is that you, Mr. Stewart?
Well, who the hell else do you think it'd be? Get in here, you pair of flaming galahs.
Alf Stewart hurt his ankle on Friday, but he's currently questionable, so we don't know whether he's going to play. If he is out, holy shit, I don't know what they're going to do. I guess they're going to have to play a lot of Jeremy Grant at center because Luka Garza's not up to it at all. Trey Lyles is dreadful. And they don't have any other centers on the roster. So keep an eye on Stewart's status and what that means for Garza, for Lyles, for Grant. And then if Grant plays, it means more minutes for guys like Frank Jackson and Hamidou Diallo coming off the bench. Killian Hayes' last couple of games have been disappointing. He's battling this thumb injury. I think he's gone to the bench or been unable to finish the game in 3 of his last 4 with his thumb wrist injury, and he's questionable again with that condition. So we worry about his playing time. We also worry about your mate Dwayne Casey and what he's going to do with the rotation and Corey Joseph. So Hayes' minutes, Hayes' health, Hayes' wrist, and then conversely what that means for big old Corey Joseph. The Knicks and the Bulls are back-to-back here for the Knicks, and I'm recording this at the moment, and it's after the first quarter of that game against the Rockets. The Knicks look horrendous again. Will Tom Thibodeau the most flexible, progressive man in the NBA, will he change up the lineup? I don't know. I'm gonna say probably not. But will we get more minutes of Alec Burks and Emmanuel quickly? Probably, especially under the assumption that Kemba Walker won't play, given it's a back-to-back. So Burks and Quickly, really watching to see what their role is. Can one of them force minutes away from Fournier again? If Fournier actually starts out well, does that just banish Quickly and Burks into like a 14-minute role? Don't know. Well, for the Bulls, Alex Caruso has been playing huge minutes and putting up really, really strong numbers. Good assists guy, but very, very strong in steals, making him a must-roster player. I imagine that role continues. And then Derek Jones Jr. has also been playing well. They're playing him at center a lot, with Tony Bradley relatively ineffective. And Jones can be an interesting defensive stat stream if he's playing like that 20 minutes a night. All right. Before we go any further, I'm going to tell you that today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. I know you're going to love it. It's just the most straightforward thing you can do. It's the best NBA DFS prop provider out there. You've got more NBA props than any other prop provider. The superstars, but also the bench guys playing limited minutes. A wide array, points, assists, threes, blocks, steals, rebounds, fantasy points. You just go in, you pick 2 to 5 blokes, stick them into a lineup, and you just go over under the projection, however you phrase it. Add them together, 2 to 5 of those guys, and you can win up to 10 times your entry fee. It doesn't just have to be basketball. You can combine multiple sports into one entry as well. And when you sign up, use the promo code NBA because you get a 100% welcome deposit bonus up to $100. The entries are fast and easy, and the withdrawals are completely safe and speedy as well. So head to prizepicks.com, use the promo code NBA, or go to your app store and download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. This is a familiar scenario, I am sure. You have got your live sports you watch somewhere else. You might be sitting here College Football Saturday watching some college football. You got your on-demand shows that you watch somewhere else. What's your on-demand show that you're watching at the moment? What's your favorite? Hawkeye coming out this week. Looking forward to that. You got your highlights you watch on your phone, and you've got your best friend's login to watch some other stuff. It's all over the place. It's just an absolute schmozzle. Too many devices, too many remotes, too many things to worry about. Well, I'll tell you about a simple way to get your TV together and get all that entertainment you love in the one place. It's called Direct TV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. No more juggling remotes, and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there is no annual contract, so get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with Direct TV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required, and content varies by package. The Nuggets and the Suns. Are we worried about Big Chungus? I think we are a little bit with his wrist injury. I don't know if he's going to miss any more time. Of course, Malone, the doctor, he tells us nothing. We don't know whether he'll play. But what does that mean for Aaron Gordon, who was really good last time out, and Will Barton, who they're just going to have to take on a gigantic usage load? We know that Michael Porter's going to be missing. But if Jokic is out as well, then more value for Barton and Gordon. And then we want to see how our guys like Campazzo, who really stepped up last game, players like Jeff Green and JaMychal Green, how those guys can step up if Jokic does happen to miss once again, it is looking like there is a possibility there with the non-committal nature of some of the comments from your mate. What's his name? Doctor. That's it. Dr. Michael Malone. For the Suns, Chris Paul getting by this season with gigantic assist numbers and gigantic steal numbers. I just want to focus in a little bit on him and see whether that can continue or whether he can get his offense going. And then Cam Payne, who I think at times this year has been a little bit disappointing compared to where he was last season, but I still think that he has good stream value. I still think he's obviously a better player than, say, Landry Shamet. It is frustrating that they're giving Shamet as many minutes as they are. But just watching Payne, who I think has an interesting weekly league value for the week upcoming, as I mentioned on the week preview show earlier today. So watching him is going to be something I'm going to be doing. And we look at the Raptors and the Warriors, the last game of the day. The big tree himself, Kem Birch. Big numbers the last 2 games, and the last time it was big steals and big blocks, which I don't really expect to continue. And there is still Achua and Chris Boucher, the wiki, around. So I don't think that Birch's minutes and upside has tremendous, sky-high potential. But can he be productive enough to at least be a stream? I think he's a great stream on a 12-team day like this. A 5-game day like this for 12-team leagues. But is he a long-term guy? Probably not. And I think Boucher's, again, a fine stream for this day, but I don't think he's a must-roster 12-team league player. While for the Warriors, Jordan Poole went bananas without Steph Curry. But the last game before that, we saw him play with Steph Curry. He infuriated Steve Kerr. And we saw him get his minutes reduced for guys like Damian Lee getting an extra bump. So can Poole remain consistent? Can he get 30 plus a night? Obviously, that game against the Pistons is a huge outlier. He was great in it, but those opportunities just won't be afforded to him most nights. While Nemanja Bjelica started out the season strong, faded away completely, and the last 2 games has started to push back up. Is he starting to become a name we need to pay attention to again in 14-team leagues? I want to see what his rotation role looks like in this game. Let's look at some streaming options now. We'll head on to back-to-backs. It's only the Suns and the Bulls that we're really looking for at the Sunday-Monday back-to-back combo. So for the Suns, we're looking at JaVale McGee, Cam Payne, Cam Johnson as potential options to add. For the Bulls, Tony Bradley, maybe throw Derek Jones Jr. in there, Javonte Green. They can be your back-to-back stream options. For 9 category leagues, just for Sunday, we're looking at Tony Bradley, Terrence Mann, Dorian Finney-Smith, Luke Kennard, Emmanuel Quickley, Damian Lee, Alec Burks, and Corey Joseph. For deeper leagues, you got Bradley, Lee, Burks, Corey Joseph is a very interesting stream, I think. Dwight Powell, Jeff Green, Andre Iguodala, Cam Payne, and Malik Monk. And lastly, for points leagues, we go to Batum, Crowder, Terrence Mann, Tony Bradley, Monty Morris, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Emmanuel Quickley. Before I let you go, Thanksgiving is just around the corner. We know it's about family is the word. Family and food, delicious food. But unfortunately, the desserts in particular, they're so high in calories and so high in sugar and in fat. Built Bar isn't. So why don't you make Built Bar your new Thanksgiving holiday tradition? Built Bar are low in calories, low in sugar, low in fat, but high in protein and covered in 100% real chocolate. So when you get to Thanksgiving, bust out a box of Built Bars and say, guys, check out me bar. And they're going to say, Josh, are you sure about this? And I'm going to say, yes, Built Bar is absolutely delicious. And it is something that we can all enjoy for Thanksgiving dessert and not have to worry about blowing out our calorie budget. So check out this website, built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15 and you will save 15% off of Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. This is the best tasting protein bar. No, it's not. I was going to say this is the best tasting fantasy basketball show that you'll watch this week, but that just sounds stupid. And then I screwed it up anyway. So who cares? Guys, don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Leave your comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.